And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome, everyone, to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Saturday, July 26, 2025. And in the weather-related headlines across the state of Alaska, we continue to see a ridgy pattern over the Aleutians, lower Bering Sea, and also along the Alcan border. These features are providing those locations with some warmer temperatures and drier conditions. There is an offshore Gulf low heading southeastward into the North Pacific that's going to keep some rain showers and breezy conditions just offshore there of the Gulf Coast and Panhandle as we go through Sunday. There is a trough of low pressure from the Chukchi Sea into the northern Bering that's going to push some moisture inland across the interior by the time we get through Sunday and especially into early next week. But overall, the encouraging news is that much of the state is going to see above normal temperatures into early August, though it is going to start to get wetter across the southeast, especially in the Panhandle, as we do get some lows coming up from the North Pacific and flinging that moisture on back up toward the north and northwest. So looking at some of the FAA webcams across the state, over in Savunga, they're seeing the effects of that North Bering trough that's pushing eastward. A little bit of light rain and overcast, 52 degrees with a northeast breeze mid-afternoon. Dillingham further south, on the other hand, as we get down toward the central eastern Aleutians on up into areas like Bristol Bay, Alaska Peninsula, that ridge is providing some sunshine and warmer temperatures. Dillingham mostly sunny, 72. And then as we head up into the interior Northway, there's some scattered showers and vicinities there going up the upper Tanana Valley. Could even be a few thunderstorms as well, 67. And then Sitka, that trough of low pressure, you get looking southwestward or westward out over the Gulf. You can see the darker clouds. You get further offshore, it turns breezier with some showers. Temperature there, 60. Those showers should largely miss the very outside there of the Panhandle as we go through tonight and Sunday. At this time, no significant watch warnings or advisories to be concerned about, so that's good news. Fire danger for Sunday is still going to be very high across areas of the middle Tanana Valley and middle upper Yukon, including the Yukon Flats. This time of year, it's spruce trees that are the greatest carrier of fire, so the spruce adjective is up there across areas of the central and especially eastern interior. So on the weather map, this starting early Saturday morning, we have this low pressure, the circulation clearly delineated. Notice how the low is expanded, the circulation, there's a trough wrapping around this low because it's really wound up. And it's drifting off toward the southeast. So this is going to have a tendency to pull some of those clouds away from the coastline of the Panhandle and northern Gulf Coast as we go through Sunday. Back to the west, here is this trough, eastern Russia down into the North Bering. That's going to be pushing into the Chukchi Sea and up through Norton Sound, lower Yukon Delta as we go through tonight, Sunday. But this is the band of moisture, some showers along this thing, nothing terribly heavy, but the ridging is very pronounced. Notice through here, kind of has this inverted U shape. Well, that's the upper reflection of the circulation around the upper ridge. So it's bringing drier weather to the central eastern Aleutians and warmer temperatures. This high will expand northeastward as we go through the next couple of days. So late tonight into Sunday morning, that low continues to drift southeastward out of the Gulf into the North Pacific, rather broad circulation. We still have the thermal low due to the warmer temperatures here. Tanana Valley back to the central interior, and then there's that North Bering, Chukchi Sea trough attached to an area of low pressure along the Russian Arctic coastline, and then here's the surface reflection of that bigger, warmer ridge that's up into the southern parts of the Bering Sea and the Aleutian chain. And to Sunday afternoon, the low continues southward into the North Pacific out of the Gulf, so that may even bring a little more sunshine, dry conditions along the Gulf Coast and Panhandle. Interior areas could be a few showers. Isolated thunderstorms pop up with the afternoon heating on Sunday. Here's that warm ridge coming up over into the southern half of the Bering, and the Aleutians creeping upward into areas along Kuskokwim. Bristol Bay will be drying out and seeing maybe a little more sun by Monday afternoon. That high is one of the main features over the southeastern Bering, right over the Pribilofs. On Monday, if you can get some sunshine there, it'd be quite warm. And then as we look, there's that low drifted way down in the North Pacific. But by the time some of this moisture is going to try to circulate back to the north, not right away yet, but at least should be drier weather, especially places like Cape Suckling through Prince William Sound, the Kenai Peninsula, and the Kodiak Island. Be some sunshine, warmer temps. Interior, though, some of that moisture is going to translate eastward into the central eastern interior from that weak frontal system that came into the west coast on Sunday. That could spell some areas of rain or rain showers with some embedded thunderstorms. Better chance of thunder Monday would be here in the eastern areas of the interior near the Alcan border, and still be the continuation of temperatures Sunday afternoon. We're going to see high 70s of maybe even a few 80-degree readings. And then into Tuesday, that moisture does make a little more inroad across much of the central eastern interior. Not going to be widespread, but certainly there. And then there's that low sitting and spinning in the North Pacific. There may be a little bit of moisture come back to the north that could clip the panhandle as we get into Tuesday. I'll have to check on that again tomorrow. And then notice the high, surface high, just east of the Pribilofs, nudging on up toward Kuskokwim, Bristol Bay. So that's going to spell warm temperatures here in areas of the southwest, Alaska Peninsula, down into the eastern half of the Aleutians. So temperatures Sunday morning, still in the 50s. You get up along the Yukon River, mild. Even along the Arctic coast, it's a little cooler there because you're getting a chilly northeast breeze off of the Beaufort Sea. So lows getting down into the mid-30s or so, but staying above freezing. And then out here in the Panhandle, lows generally in the 50s, lows generally pretty mild in the 50s. South central around Anchorage in the valley. Back further westward, 46 Savunga, 48 at St. Paul, 52 there at Dutch Harbor, Unalaska. High Sunday afternoon, mid-upper 70s, even a few 80-degree readings. Could flirt with 80 at Fairbanks, as well as Yukon Flats, Eagle, Northway, the places that are normally warm. And even Gulkana, you get a little more sun, could be up near 80. As we go westward, temperatures are cooler along the coast, 52 at Wales, 54 at Macoriac there on Nunavik Island. 50s, maybe an isolated 60 here showing up along the Alaska Peninsula. Still could be back up around 70, Dillingham, King Salmon, very easily, maybe even a few degrees warmer than that if you can get a little bit more in the way of sun. And again, lows will actually be a little milder come Monday morning, mid-upper 50s Panhandle, generally above 50 south central. A few of the normal cold pockets, depending on terrain and things, could be upper 40s or so. But otherwise, Yukon Valley, low mid-50s. Even coming up a few degrees here along the Arctic coast, especially the Beaufort Sea coast, lows generally in the 40s there, North Slope and along the Arctic coast. And then high temperatures, the warmest temperatures on Monday will shift a little further east up the Yukon Flats, Alcan border, middle upper Tanana Valley could squeak out 80 again at Northway, maybe Glen Allen, and possibly nearing it there at Fort Yukon. Temperatures a little cooler here along the western coast and interior, 50s for highs. And we could see a little warmer temperatures Monday afternoon, Anchorage Bowl on up in the valley in the 70s. And then back here through the Panhandle, if you can get a little sun, 74 Juneau on up towards Skagway. So pretty nice warm pattern to start out, to close out July. Now August is looking promising if you want some warmer weather, especially across the western half of the mainland. Strong likelihood, the probabilities of above normal temperatures are running at least 70% plus. And that would be August 1st through the 5th. Still a bit above normal for the southeast, but the main thing about the pattern is suggestive of some ridging coming up in like this. So when you have the ridge doing that into the southwest, it keeps much of the northwestern half or more of the state and the mainland drier. Whereas at times you're going to get these lows come up out of the North Pacific and fling moisture back to the north and west. And the most likely location for that to happen would be the Panhandle. So precipitation could average a bit above normal across the southeast as we go through the first several days of August.